Hey everyone, as promised, here is my deck for tiny leaders. I build a God of Passage deck, so it's white, black. I love that color combination. It's just always been one of my favorites. And so I started it off by just using commons, and then I slowly started adding in rares. So this deck is pretty simple and straightforward. Basically, it was originally focused with Agent of Fates in mind and the heroic ability. So that's why you'll see so many enchantment cards in my deck. Particularly some of these older cards that many people probably have forgotten about, like Flickering Ward. This is extremely broken with any heroic deck. So if you plan on playing heroics, you might want to consider adding in this card. I've added in some other nice cards as well that I think would be a staple in all the Tiny Leaders decks, such as Unearth, which I was thrilled to find this in my collection. Basically, you just get to bring back any creature from your graveyard to play, and you can cycle it if need be. There's also a lot of other good cards too. Classics such as Go for the Throat or Tragic Slip. A lot of basic staples like that. I also, for my lands, I have mostly non-basic lands. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have more non-basic lands than I do basic lands, which should be typical for most Commander-style games, just for the consistency reasons. So really, overall, the deck just centers around bringing out monsters, enchanting them, and keeping them alive, and bringing out God of Passage so that way he comes out as a creature than simply an enchantment sitting there. I like having a 5/4 indestructible more than I actually like his ability, and a lot of these cards are 3-drops with multiple mana symbols in the cost, so it should be pretty easy to pull off. A few other little tricks that I thought was fun to play with. One of is a Wand of Denial. It's a 2-drop artifact where basically every turn you can look at the top card of someone's library, and if you don't like it, you can pay 2 life to get rid of it. So that could be really good, especially since this is meant to be played one-on-one, so you know exactly whose deck you're going to go after. Or if you really need to burn through your deck, you can do it to yourself. Another fun card, since this is one-on-one, is Curse of Shallow Graves. So you just obviously enchant this on your opponent, and for the rest of the game you keep spawning 2/2s. I've only been able to play with this deck once against one opponent, so it was a pretty nasty battle. He used a commander card, I forget its name now, but it's the one where it gets a +1/+1 counter every time it deals combat damage to a player, and whenever he moves out of the battlefield zone, he still keeps the number of counters on him. So basically, even if you kill him, he just goes back to the commander zone, and then he can come back with those counters still on him. It's a very good card. I was able to hold him back a lot using cards like Keeper of the Light and giving it protection from black, using my mini protection ward cards. So that was a nice stall. And I was also able to kill it quite often using my murder and my tragic slips. Things like that was very effective. If I know I would have to modify this deck though if I wanted to play it more competitively. I would add in cards like Path to Exile or Swords of Plowshare. 1-drop cards that really wreck opponent's creature base. The other thing too though I want to go into is that you also get a 10-count sideboard. So this is what I added into my sideboard, is everything from this side. One of the nastier things I thought was cards like Death Grip, where it's specific against one color, but it's extremely powerful against one color. So I thought that was a lot of fun. The other one is Chalice of the Void. I think is really good for this format, especially for my deck, since everything in my deck either cost 1 or 3, so I could just put 2 on it and I'm pretty much unaffected, while my opponent will have to work around that. Ratchet Bomb's another really good one, really anti-token, anti-small card. So cards like these that were once hard to manage because of the variety are now extremely good. So it's something to consider. The last tech that I was pretty proud of finding was Vampiric Link. So if I ever face a deck like that again, where they center around one creature constantly attacking me and deal me massive damage, I can enchant the creature with this, and I will gain the life back before I'm defeated. So it's basically like a life link that's guaranteed to gain your own life, even if you enchant your opponent's creature. So I can either enchant one of my heroic monsters, or I can enchant one of the bigger monsters. So really nice tech. So that's just an example of what you can build. There's a lot more to this deck. Perhaps I'll be able to actually show a video of me playing it. Even though I didn't win, it was still tons of fun to be able to play with these smaller cards that are normally no good in a format where they're actually standing up against some beefy things. So a lot of fun. Check it out, try your own, and tell me how it goes. Alright guys, see ya, and keep on playing.